probably lots of questions, but I'm going to get a lot of my own questions answered later today, so stay tuned for more. Thanks so much.
And that was Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson on this day walking out of the room rather than taking questions from reporters. When will the House be back in session? Will the House match the Senate and pledge to take a vote on extending healthcare tax subsidies? What is the schedule for Adelita Grijalva's swearing in? No answers.
Mike Johnson apparently still hiding. Refused to even answer a single question today. That's extraordinary.
Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. Even pro-Trump Republicans are slamming Speaker Johnson. Mike Lindell's streaming channel, Lindell TV, noted on X, according to House gallery rules, the Speaker is expected to take at least one question. Johnson has never skipped Q&A before. After weeks of daily shutdown updates and follow-up questions, the silence speaks volumes. In the 6 minutes that Speaker Johnson did talk to the press, he noted that the continuing resolution to fund the government includes back pay for federal workers and fully funding food stamps for a year. That measure first has to get through the U.S. Senate.
At the very moment that they do that final vote, I will call all House members to return to Washington as quickly as possible. We'll give a 36-hour formal and official notice so that we can vote as soon as possible to pass the amended CR bill and get it to the president's desk.
Lawmakers in the House now expect Johnson to bring the chamber back into session as early as Wednesday. Relatedly, House Democrat-elect Adelita Grijalva has been told that Johnson will swear her in before the House vote on the government funding bill. Grijalva is poised to provide the 218 signature needed on a discharge petition that will force a vote on releasing the Epstein files. Under House rules, that vote must happen within 7 legislative days, which means a vote on the Epstein files could come by the end of next week. In the meantime, many House lawmakers face the same immediate challenges as other Americans: canceled flights and an air travel mess.
And as of Sunday, nearly half of all domestic flights and U.S. flights were either canceled or delayed. And it's a very serious situation. So I'm saying that by way of reminder. I'm stating the obvious to all my colleagues, Republicans and Democrats in the House. You need to begin right now returning to the Hill. We have to do this as quickly as possible.
While reopening the government may come with some urgency, the key concern for Democrats the past 42 days, affordable health care, is now going to be something of a congressional afterthought. Centrist Democrats agreed to fund the government merely on a pledge by Senate Republican leaders to have a health care tax credit vote by the end of the year.
Because of the shutdown fight, we've had a number of Republicans who have figured out that this is an issue for them. This is not a red state issue or a blue state issue. It's an issue about making sure that people can afford their health insurance. And so we've heard from a number of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle that they're willing to come to the table, they're willing to work with us once the government's open to get this done. We've heard the same thing from the White House. So now we'll see. We'll see if they are really going to work with us to make sure that Americans can afford their health insurance.
If there is no deal on the ACA tax credits, Democrats could conceivably shut down the government again at the end of January when the new funding bill moving through the Senate expires. As it stands, House Speaker Johnson is refusing to make the same pledge as Senate Republicans on the healthcare tax credits. That means even if an ACA tax credit extension does get through the Senate, it's possible Speaker Johnson will never bring it up for a vote in the House. Johnson and the Republicans, as the House Majority Party, have the authority to set the schedule and the legislative agenda. The exception, of course, is a discharge petition that forces a vote. And there's reportedly now some talk among lawmakers of trying to find some ways that would guarantee a vote on health care. But the way things are moving now through Congress, the first major vote in the U.S. House after the government funding bill will be a vote on releasing all the Epstein files. Several Republicans on Capitol Hill believe that when the Epstein vote finally happens, there will be more than 100 Republicans who will join the Democrats in demanding the files get released. The latest Epstein news involves Britain's Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew, no more. The British royal officially stripped of his title, now officially known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
Andrew was recently stripped of his title amidst more allegations about his Epstein activities, including alleged sex with then 17-year-old Virginia Giuffre. At the time, Donald Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein and was pictured with Prince Andrew. According to documents and reporting, Trump and Epstein referred to themselves as the squad for Andrew. In other words, Trump allegedly worked with Epstein to identify and possibly procure girls for Andrew. Trump has denied ever being friends with Andrew and has denied any wrongdoing with Epstein. Still, Democratic House lawmakers are now pushing for an interview with the former Prince Andrew.
We think the former prince actually has a lot of critical information to our investigation here with the Epstein files, obviously the cover-up that's happening at the Department of Justice, and all of the powerful and wealthy men that abused women and children in many cases here in the United States. And these women deserve justice. Look, we think the former prince has critical information, not just about Jeffrey Epstein, but Ghislaine Maxwell, who else was involved, what men, powerful men, were gaining access to Epstein and committing these horrific crimes against these girls and women. We also think he has critical information around the financial crimes and all of the money and the money laundering that was happening going in and out of the United States, in some cases possibly from foreign governments or other powerful men across the world.
Under U.S. laws, a foreign national cannot be forced to testify or answer questions to the U.S. Congress. However, friends of Jeffrey Epstein believe that Andrew does have information about Donald Trump and others. Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime associate, may also have information about Donald Trump. And as CBS News reports, Ghislaine Maxwell plans to ask Trump to commute prison sentence. You see how that may work? Maxwell will stay silent about Trump if Trump will get her out of prison. However, many congressional Republicans now expect that the truth about Donald Trump is eventually going to emerge, either through witness testimony or files, or photographs and video, or all of that together. Donald Trump is the only person who is close to Jeffrey Epstein who has not yet been humiliated and brought down. And with the clock about to start ticking on an Epstein files vote in the House, several Republicans have said they can no longer afford the political risk of being on the record protecting Donald Trump. So the House vote is not expected to be close. Then, the measure to release the Epstein files will head to the U.S. Senate. Senators in both parties say the vote in that chamber could also be overwhelming to release the files. They say it's a measure of how weakened politically Donald Trump has become and how uncertain all members of Congress have become about what the Epstein-Trump files may reveal. All things Epstein have become politically radioactive for Republicans, prompting even House Speaker Mike Johnson to try and dodge any questions. By the way, the economic questions are also getting more challenging for Republicans now. The latest data shows that Donald Trump has plunged consumer confidence to a record low.
Here, take a look here. This is consumer sentiment, the current conditions. Consumer sentiment can be the current conditions or it can be future expectations. We're looking at current conditions. And get this, according to the University of Michigan, we are dealing with the worst ever view of current conditions dating all the way back since 1951. This is record-breaking in the way you don't want to be breaking records. And get this, Kate, it is down 30%. Consumer sentiment of current conditions down 30% from January when Donald Trump took office.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Brafley, who wrote, "Completely self-inflicted. Well done." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about House Speaker Mike Johnson getting slammed across the political spectrum for his efforts to try and avoid answering questions from the press. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.